Satya?
Maybe wait for one more minute.
Okay.
Let other people join. Springtime, Rachit, weather is getting better. Melbourne.
Slowly getting there.
Okay, I think Satya sir, we can get started with recording. Rachit sir has enabled the recording, so we are good to go. Sure. Thanks, Umesh. Share my screen. Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to our 49th session from D365 User India Group. Today, this is the fourth session in the series of Agentic AI in D365. And we'll be talking about time and approval agent. Our speaker will be Venkatesh Vadlamani from Microsoft. So I'll not waste so much time introducing the group or other things. I'll hand over to Venkatesh very soon. Just a few disclaimer before we start the session. I really don't like saying that, but we have to say it, and I don't want anyone taking it seriously, leaving the meeting. We'll be recording the session. So anybody wants to leave, you can leave now. If they don't want to be recorded part of the session. But I know nobody will leave us. You guys all love us, want to be part of the session. All the views expressed are from the speakers and do not represent views from any of the employers or Microsoft, right? Any solution provided in the session needs to be tested in non-production environment first before deploying to production. Whatever environments we are using or the presenter will be using will be lab environment, Contos environment, and we're not using the client, any of the client environment. Okay. As you guys know, we are on social media everywhere, on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. You can join us by scanning these links. Just a quick introduction about our group. As you know, Rachit, very famous personality. He's MVP. He's our founder member also. Umesh Pandit, he's a social media influencer. He also handles our social media, our group on the social media. He is a very known personality as well. And also on the journey of MVP, should be MVP very soon. Me and Deepak both are lucky to have written a book, and Deepak is also an MVP, I'm sure, right? Rachit Mashira. Yes. Okay, so all the session we have had so far, like 47 sessions, all are on YouTube. If you want to go and check them, you can be part of our YouTube group. And definitely you should be checking the previous 3 sessions, which are from Microsoft on Agentic AI. This last session is also part of that series. Before I hand over to Venkatesh, just a quick info on the next session, our 50th session, Half Century, on 9th of October, where we'll be talking about decoding Dynamics 365 FSM security and licensing, which is again a burning topic, a hot topic right now, and it will be led by Alex. So I'll hand over to Venkatesh now.
I'm taking over the presentation. Thank you. Thank you, team,
Thank
first
you,
of all,
Venkatesh. All the best.
for the For the opportunity, I believe I would just want to reiterate one thing. ERP as an application would be, or the business applications would be stronger with a stronger community. And I sincerely appreciate all the efforts that are being put in by the team. And I used to be a regular participant to answer community forum questions in the past, but life caught up on me. I'll still try to dedicate more time to return back to answering questions on the community.dynamics.com. And thank you for keeping this community active and buzzing. And love the opportunity to speak here. Today, I have with me the PM owner for Time Agent and timesheet entries on top of the project operations app. That's Mohit Menon. Mohit, just a quick introduction of yourself from you would be great.
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Mohit. I'm the PM for time entry and team member experiences in project operations, and been working closely with the team on the time approvals and expense agents. So, any questions that we have later in the session, I'll be to answer them along with my question.
Thank you,
Welcome
Mohit.
to the session, Mohit. And thanks for joining.
Welcome. Yeah, welcome, Mohit.
So let's get with the agenda. We have talked about autonomous ERP in the last session, so we will not spend more time on it because we have two agents to cover and two different demos to cover also. So we'll just directly get to time and approval agent overview, and then prerequisites for installation, setup, and then a quick demo of how it works on an environment, right? Not a okay. So let's get started with it now. These are the 6 first-party agents that we have available already in a production-ready PV state. So you could actually deploy them in your production instance, provided you have done your due diligence in testing, as highlighted earlier. So let's quickly get started with today's topic, which is time agent, first one. So before we get to speaking about time agent, we just wanted to highlight the 3 different offerings that we have on project operations. One is Lite, which is also called Project Operations Core, recently rebranded. This is a Dataverse native application. It can be connected with SAP, Oracle, your Sage, or even F&O, or all of that, or even your AX2012, right? It's just an application which can be integrated down to another application. This Project Operations Core provides you all the capabilities in terms of being able to manage and execute your projects. It is more from opportunity or even a lead to perform a kind of a scenario, right? To perform the subsequent financial parts will end up in the corresponding finance system you are integrating with. Now, that is Project Operations Core. Now, there is also a traditional PMA module that is available in finance and operations, which we call Project Operations for Manufacturing, which is used as the project module, or it is also intertwined with the manufacturing operations for scheduling as well. Now, and then there is a offering that comes as a two apps in a box kind of an offering, which is called Resource Nonstop earlier. Now it is rebranded as Project Operations Integrated with ERP, which gives the capabilities to manage the project related execution on Dataverse native app and manage the financials within F&O. So it's a complete full offering that we have in project operations. So for all of these, the licensing is still the same. It's project operations, right? Now, let's move to the agents in question right now. So today we are talking about time and approval agent. So for time entries, we are leveraging the Dataverse native time entry functionality. We are not looking at timesheet functionality in F&O. Just wanted to clarify this to be very specific. This will not create timesheets. It's a time entry in Dataverse native app that we have, which is called Project Operations Core. It is also applicable for integrated projects because the time entry functionality is the way you log time entries in integrated apps as well. It's not the timesheet experience. There are a lot of reasons for it. It's more intuitive, more easier, and much more flexible to do this, and it gives a better UI experience, and it can be easily extended as well, right? Compared to our F&O timesheet module itself. Now, coming to approval agent. Yeah.
Sorry, Venkatesh, before you move ahead, can I clarify this, what you said about time entry? It's not timesheet entry in F&O?
It's not timesheet entry in F&O. It's called time. In F&O, the way you log a timesheet time is through timesheet or an hour journal, right? In an integrated deployment or project operations core, the way you use log a employee's time is through the experience called time entry. This is not available on F&O. It is only in integrated and light deployments. So whatever we are speaking about time agent, it is applicable if you have deployed integrated project operations, or if you have deployed project operations core or the light version and integrating it down to SAP, Oracle, other financial systems of the world, right? So the agent is specific for that. Now, obviously, agent creates an entries. So the time agent creates entries. And apart from that, you will have entries associated to material usage, entries associated to expense entry. Now, again, not expense report. On Dataverse, you have something called expense entry. There is an experience over there as well. All these can be creating approval records on Dataverse, which can be managed through approval agent. So today, whatever we're going to speak about is going to be an experience on Dataverse app itself, not on F&O app.
Sure.
Okay.
No, thank you very much. Yep.
Now let's proceed further with a time entry process. Today's time entry process is you just create a list of time entry records for the week, add your comments for it, review any rejected entries, make corrections for that, submit it back, respond to emails from the manager. That's the whole journey per se. Now, with all these aspects being very manual, imagine you have many employees in your system and each are working in different projects. It could be a considerable time that an employee spends on creating the base draft timesheet itself. So if you have, I could quote my experience back in my previous consulting days. I worked on at least 7 projects over a week. So all 7 projects, if I had to log timesheets, I would take at least 2 hours to do that at a bare minimum, right? Now, that's same for across any consulting org that we are looking at. And imagine engineering orgs, you will have more, right? So with time entry, the agent, what we can do is have this part being taken away where agent creates the time entry and you can, the base time entry, and you can just modify what are the asks associated to each of the tasks and then just submit it. And this you could do on a chatbot experience on Teams itself. So essentially, you're not spending much time. It's actually generating the time entries on the first day of the week itself for the upcoming week. You could just append to it by adding more lines or updating the lines as well, right? So that's how we envision this. So this also provides an intuitive way of alerting you, saying, hey, you have a missing time entry for this day, or you haven't consumed all your hours per that you have capacity for this week. So those kind of notifications would land up on your Teams chat. So you could actually be reminded on timely fashion to act on it. Now, there are quite a number of organizations which actually put a condition on the access that you have. If you haven't filled the last week time entries, you don't have access to any of the organization resources starting from Monday afternoon. Or similarly, if you don't fill your time sheets by 22nd of the month, yeah, your payroll is gone. You will suspend your payroll until you submit them. And few organizations go to an extent of putting a leave request itself automatically in cases where the timesheets are not there. So there are very stringent rules that are followed, because end of the day, companies are audited in terms of how employees are spending time on, and also with respect to consulting firms and engineering firms, right? Now, what this brings in is the capability to create a draft entry which can be easily submitted by the employee, not going away from Teams itself, where he's collaborating for other stuff. So let's quickly go into where and all this experience can be highlighted in. So as soon as agent runs, it creates a time entry and creates an adaptive card on Teams, where you could add comments, or it can enrich the comments looking up to your Outlook calendar itself. If you have meeting requests with a subject and details that are associated to the corresponding projects that you have associated to, then it can actually then ask you to update comments. If there are any rejected entries, it will ask you, it can remind you of saying, hey, this entry is rejected. Can you just update and resubmit? You could make the corrections in Teams itself and send it back. Now, also you can open a deep link from Teams to go back to the time entry page in project operations and do it there as well. So this brings in what, right? It actually reduces the possibility of someone missing a timesheet, meaning the possibility of you having a revenue leakage is lesser. Reduce the overload time for the employees and also PMs, because they are no longer wasting time to chasing people across. And obviously you can improve accuracy because you have a base timesheet. You can just go and modify only the hours on it. It gives you a better accuracy looking up to your bookings and assignments. So now let's talk about the installation experience over here. So before you go about thinking using time agent, you would need to understand that there's a service principal that needs to be created in the background. So you have to have an general ID or something like that, a time agent ID, which can act as a service principal, which needs to be assigned one of these licenses to give Power Apps premium level connector access, and some license that covers Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Outlook. That could be E3, E5, whatever license associated to it. So those are the only licenses that needs to be associated to this. Now, once we have this in place, we would need to provide this user access to be a time agent on Dataverse on that particular environment as a role. Now, how does this, why do we not need a Copilot for finance also? Because we are not interacting with F&O. We don't need that access to plug into F&O data. So that's the reason why we just need only this particular agent access, right? Now, let's get into how to set up the time agent. So we would need to create 4 different connections in Dataverse. Each of them highlighted over here: Copilot Studio, Dataverse, Teams, and Outlook connections. Once we have this connection set up, you could choose a path of going manually going into each and every flow, updating the connections, and turning the flows on after the installation of this agent. This actually comes in with the installation of project operations latest version itself. It's not, you don't need to do anything special there. Now, or instead of going editing 12 different flows, you could just capture the connections that you have created in a particular script file, run that in PowerShell. That is also a possibility. So either way, you will be achieving the same outcome, which is turning on 12 different flows, publishing one agent, and publishing one Teams channel for the agent. That's it. That's what we would do in either of the direction, right? So let's look at I'll share the PowerShell script as well as the documentation associated to this. This is not in public documentation, but it is straightforward. It's similar way how we install it for expense agent as well. But if you want to follow public documentation, it covers about 12 different flows where you can manually go and update, right? So I'll be sharing those steps. Pretty straightforward. Just replace the connections, replace the URLs, run the PowerShell script in PowerShell 7.0 version or higher. Right. Once it's run, it will actually say each of the flow is turned on and the agents have been published finally. Once that is done, you will have agent that is working in the background already. Now we just need to set the agent up for individual users, whoever want to use it, right? I'm an employee, I'm a bookable resource in project operations. Now I need to be able to use it, right? So for that, let me quickly go on to the environment and show that. Okay, so I've created a quick project on project operations, which is called Agentic Experience. Inside this, I've added myself as a resource in this for almost a duration of 2 years with a 2 hours kind of a spread across every single day. That's the booking I have created against a single project. Now, I can go into time entries. Right now, there is no time entry associated to me. Here you have a time agent tab that comes up. So, oh, sorry, I forgot to cover the setup part. Let me just go into the setup parameters. So unfortunately, I'll not be able to showcase this, but if you go into project parameters and under feature control, you'll be able to, you should be able to enable the time entry agent here. So it should load up. Since I've already enabled it, you cannot see it, I guess, here. So once you have that, this tab will be available for you to utilize in project parameters, right? Now let's go back to the setting for a single user, how they go about doing it. So any team member in project operations can actually go about registering the time entries for the projects they are associated to. So while doing that, they get an option to register a time agent preferences. Here, set agent preferences, you could say, enable the agent to create time entries on your behalf. You have to say yes. And then where do you pick the source for the agent to create your entries? Is it your Outlook calendar, or is it your team task assignments, or is it the capacity that you're booked on the projects? These are the three different things. And obviously, you have a history of timesheets, so you can use one of them as well. So those are the three options that you have. I've enabled all three for now. So the next one is generate external comments for each time entry. So every time entry, if I have a Outlook calendar associated to it, I could generate a default comment based on the assignment or capacity that I'm booked on or previous time entry. But I can enrich it with if a calendar slot says, hey, this is associated to a particular discussion I need to do for a project, I could use that Outlook calendar description to enrich the comment on the time entry. And the time zone preference would actually determine when the agent runs. Generally, the agent runs for the first day of the week at around 12 o'clock in the night, which we have received a feedback that we should consider different options. We are working on it, but as of now, it would run on the first day of the week at 12 o'clock in the midnight. So it will generate for the forward going week, not the backward one. So it's always intention to generate based on your bookings and assignments for the next week so that you could make the corrections while you are working on them on a team spot. This makes it more efficient, right? So once you are done with this, you have to save the preferences. Once the preferences are saved, now you'd have to wait for Sunday for this time entry to generate normally. But don't worry, we have a shortcut. There is a Power Automate that we have, time entry periodic import child. It just needs to run once. It would generate the time entry based on my bookings. So this would be available in your environment under my flows. So this is only for tests. Please don't consider that you have to run this. This will be automatically invoked by the agent on a specific time of the week that is available for your organization, right? It won't be needing you to manually run this. So once this Power Automate is run, you will be able to see that teams will get an adaptive time entry here. Yeah. It's an old one. I just tried to test the connections here. So let's wait for this to run. It will generate the time entries. In the chat window, it would display an adaptive card saying, hey, I've generated a time entry for you for the upcoming week. And you could then interact directly in the Teams, or you could open the time entry directly in the web as well. Yeah, it's just done that. So if you see a minute ago or so, it has created the time entry for me. I can go back and refresh the time entry over here, or I can open it from here as well. Either way, it would take you to the same place, right? Now, you must be checking, okay, it generated an entry for me against this day. I could view the day. It would open up, hey, what is the entry it has generated for that particular day? You can say, okay, this is not okay for me. I need to log in for 6 hours over here. And the comments are, this is for live demo, amount of time spent in setting up one, right? And then just save the change and submit all. So let's wait for it to respond. So it will trigger the adaptive card response, update your time entry directly in project operations. And once it is done, it would say, okay, your changes have been saved also. This is done. So we could just refresh this. You see 6 hours has come out. And the time entry has been submitted. Okay. Yeah, time entry needs to be submitted separately again. Say submit all. Because it's a new adaptive card it's generated. Okay. Now you see, let's refresh. Should submit this time entry. Yeah, since I only submitted the line associated to 6 hours, it split the line into 2. Obviously, in the backend, it is 1 entry per day, bare minimum or so, right? But in the grid, it shows, in the modern grid, it shows as single line. But since we have a split in terms of the status, it has shown it as 2 entries. Now you can select this as well and submit. So you could submit it from chat window as well as you could submit it from the time entry screen itself. So this at least this covers in terms of how it generates the entries. So it looks up to your assignments to a task, or it looks up to your bookings against the project, or the previous week timesheets. It can mirror that across as well for this week, and then generate this, and then you could make the updates on it very quickly and then submit it back. Okay, so that completes the first part. Now I've submitted the timesheets.
Sorry, Venkatesh, if it's a logical point now, maybe we can ask a question.
Yeah.
Regarding the timesheet entry. So there's a question from Rachit. Will it also consider leaves, public holidays or annual leaves? Does it read from the Outlook or there's some other data source?
Yeah,
so I'll take this
essentially it looks up to your work calendar. If your work calendar already has a particular day as non-working also, you would not be generating those entries anyway in project operations, right? Mohit, you
Yeah,
were
actually,
off
small
mute.
caveat here. Small caveat here is that so what the agent looks at is your assignments and bookings. And let's say at the time of you being assigned to a project, you already had the leave in place. In that case, the logic automatically makes sure to not assign any hours for you on those days. But now let's say your leave came in at a later stage. Let's say it just came the week before your you're actually trying to log time. The agent will not have visibility into that. So that is one of the improvements that we are working on now to make it calendar aware while creating the time entries. So currently, you can say it may not have visibility into that if the leave has been recently added. It just looks at your assignments and bookings. It doesn't look at your leaves separately. Yeah.
So leave basically, like I'm assuming there'll be some other system for leave application, right? And it's just subject to you like block your calendar, like out of
Exactly,
office, right?
So
Like
in
people
projects,
don't
we
do that,
have
right?
we have a working hour calendar inside projects so that you could integrate your third-party leave system, or you could have users log vacation or absence time entries inside projects so that their availability also goes down when they're being staffed, using the scheduling engine. So that is what we have access to for the agent today.
Right. Okay. Yep. No, thank you. And can I also ask follow-up question here? Regarding the project allocation, I think it was discussed last week also, similar question. Like how does it read the project allocation of resources? It is the Outlook. So there was option of like copying from previous week. So I think that's easy. If it is reading from the Outlook, with Outlook generally we don't really mention the projects, right?
So
for you to be able to register a time entry in ProJobs against a project, right? You have to be part of a team. That team would essentially create a booking associated to the bookable resource. So as a bookable resource, I'll be able to register time entries provided I'm part of this team and I have booking associated to this project also. So this will be looked up saying, okay, he has a booking from this date to this date. And there's a total efforts with respect to a spread of effort across equally distributing or front loading or whatever it is, right? Based on the booking. So it uses the booking that way. Now, the other one is assignment. So if you go into a task, I can be assigned to a task directly. So if I have an assignment for a particular date on the project task, it would pick up that as well to say, hey, create a entry based on the assignment itself. Right? So these are the two facts that we have already in project operations. If we are if you want to register a time entry, right, you would have to have that. So since I'm assigned to this task, I'll be able to work on it also, right? So, but there's no hard and fast rule that for you to enter a timesheet, you have to be assigned. It has to be like you need to have access to the project at least at a high level. So bookings is one place which is reserving your capacity. Assignment is the other place where project manager tells, hey, you can log a time, you can actually work on these XYZ tasks also, right?
Yeah.
So these are the two places.
And
it can also look up to your
Outlook. Sorry. Go ahead.
For the Outlook, it doesn't create a time entry based on your calendar. It only enriches the comments that are there for an entry because your entry can be longer than the Outlook booking itself. So it may not be fully catering to, hey, this is the entry that I have against this project for this task or so. So it uses that Outlook calendar to enrich the comment saying, hey, I've been in a meeting for 30 minutes here and then done another blocker you have like 30 minutes to design after the meeting. So it will enrich the comment based on that.
Yeah. Sure. Understand. Let's say you are assigned to a project and you're doing 5 meetings in a day for that project. So it will create a timesheet for, let's say, 8 hours, 1 day entry, and put the comment taking from Outlook, right?
Yeah.
Into that same timesheet line.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But for now, on the time entries in the preferences, I've asked not to look at Outlook for me, right? So if you set this to yes, it will look to your Outlook calendar to see if there are any meetings during that time. If the meeting has more description on what it is about, it will use that to enrich the comments on the time entry.
That makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Now you must be wondering, like, I've submitted it. What about what happens beyond this, right? That's where the approval agent comes in. So I would say this is a more a hero scenario that I could personally connect to, because whenever you are using project operations as a project manager, you will have very high volume of entries to be approved, right? Because the way we log in time entries is as granular as a day and task combination, and day task and time interval combination as well. So it could be anywhere between 5 entries a week to number of tasks you are assigned, 5 into that. It could be as big as that as well, right? Now imagine that is for one employee. Now you have a project where you have 100 employees working in it. So per week you would have to multiply that at least like 20 into that 100. That is 2000 entries. You would need to go and approve. Now approval might be as simple as I just go and select and approve it, but there might be also things associated to, hey, I cannot approve entries if he has logged in more than 24 hours a day, right? I cannot see a person going beyond 24 hours a day. It's not possible. So how do we go about looking at capacities? How do we go about looking organizational policies? It's a very hard consideration if we have to code for all of it, or even design Power Automate for all of it. So that's where the approval agent comes into picture, where you can actually type in a policy document in natural language, which can utilize the out-of-box fields that we have associated to an approval record for a time or material usage or for a expense entry. And then from there, it can generate a set of rules from the policy document, and the agent will go through each approval record through this approval rules, and be able to say, okay, hey, this is no risk to approve, right? You can auto approve or so, or it would flag saying, hey, this particular entry doesn't have a sales price tag to it. Possibly your price list has already ended. So you'll not be able to build that to a customer further. That is a risk, right? So before you approve, you go back, ask the person to recall the entry, you update the price list to have the right timeline. Then once it's submitted, when you are trying to approve, it can create with the price list, right? That price associated to it. So when you are billing it, it doesn't show up as zero value for the customer. So that is one of the things. The other thing is like how many of the entries you would have to manually compare and really go ahead with approval is a different complexity that it adds to a project manager's day in, day out job, or maybe a weekly job also, to approve all this. So approval agent can help in this perspective, where it can flag a set of entries that needs manual review. It can flag other set of entries to say, hey, you can automatically approve it. Now, you can actually ask the agent to approve it as is. Now, once you have made the changes, you can ask the agent to say, hey, rerun the rule for these entries again. So that's how approval agent works in. So for this, we just need an approval agent to be with an agent identity. It needs permissions for Power Apps Premium and one of the license that covers Power Apps Premium connectors, and one license that covers Microsoft Teams and Outlook, because it would actually trigger some notifications. It would also use Teams to it wouldn't use Teams, sorry. It would just need these two licenses to be able to process this. I'm not sure why it needs Teams, but I can defer that question to a later point. I'll come back to you on this. So these are the three things that it needs. All you need to do is add a role to this agent, saying time and approval agent role itself, the same role as for time agent. Once we are done with this, we can just go ahead and turn on this flow, approval agent trigger flow. This is set to run for each of the approval record in a frequency of 1 minute. We can increase the frequency to consider more records per run. So it runs in the backend whenever you are creating timesheet submission of entries. It looks up for all the records that are there for approval. It keeps running against them in a sequential order and say flagging them saying, hey, this can be auto approved. Don't worry about it. This needs manual review. Please focus on them also. So now how do we define those rules? You can create it from a Word document, manually specifying in natural language what are the rules. So once you have this enabled from the feature control, you will see 3 different policy documents can be applied for time entry, expense entry, and material usage policies. So you could, we have a docs link which has a sample document that is available. You can start with that and then keep expanding your rules from there. So it will create a rule set for the agent to run on top of it. So, and then it would be able to process any approval entry with flags saying, hey, this needs more review because so and so rule in your policy document is violated by this entry. So you need to manually review this. So let's quickly look at that in the system. So right now, whatever I've submitted earlier as a time entry are all available as entries that needed review. Before that, let's look at the setup for this. So go into settings, go into project parameters, open the project parameter, go to time and expense agent preview tab. You could upload a policy document, one policy document across the whole organization. I know that is pretty too much. We are working on how to make it more specific to a business unit or more specific to a project or something like that. We are working on those aspects as we speak. So I will leave it to Mohit to explain a bit more on that front. But once we have this policy document imported, so let me open that one quickly. So this is a sample policy document that I've used. We have this available in our docs link. You can just say, okay, these are the criteria for compliance. You can keep exploding these rules across, saying, hey, it should not exceed these limits. It should not exceed, it should not be submitted on a non-working day. So this will look to your work calendar. If it is submitted on a non-working day, it will say, hey, you can't approve this also, right? It will flag that for your approval. So we just need to upload this and save, and then wait for agent to kick in. It runs every 1 minute or so. So you could look at approval agent related notifications over here. All the entries that I've created for this week, all of them needs a review. And if I click on that and understand why it needs a review, it says, hey, the time entries that you have created don't have a price list associated to it, so you'll not be able to bill it to your customer, right? So that's available over here. So this completes the demo for the other one. So I could ask the person back to say, okay, reject this, reassign, or I can reassign to the agent by updating once it is again updated also, right? So this completes the demo aspects that I wanted to cover today. I think we are a bit ahead of schedule today.
No, that's good.
So,
that leaves us more time for the question and answer.
Yeah.
Dish, thank you very much. I think we have 2-3 questions. Rachit, it's not answered in the previous discussion, the licensing.
Yeah, I mean,
licensing,
do we need separate like there are different user identities we have to configure for each agent. So do we need to assign separate licenses for time
Only
agent
one
and
user. So that we
one?
covered in the first slide
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
prerequisites. So the time and approval agent would essentially need a Power Apps Premium kind of a license, right? That can come with
Yeah.
SCM or project operations or even any other license that can encompass the Power Apps Premium because it uses premium connectors. The second one is Teams and Outlook license needs to be there, which could be covered by E5 or E3 licenses that you could assign to this user because they would need to access to the calendar as well as the Teams chat window as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Just one thing, Venkat.
And on the
You mentioned.
Copilot message capacity, we haven't covered that in the slides. So essentially what we look at on an average, we could say, because the amount of messages that it consumes to create a time entry on an average is 77 messages per weekly time entry, which actually creates 5 entries per week or so at the bare minimum, right? So that's 77 messages. So you could roll that up with respect to the message packs or pay as you go capacity that you could consider. And 12 messages per approval record, meaning if we have to approve all the time entries for a particular week for an employee, five entries, 5 12s, it's around 60 messages or so. So that's the consumption that we have on the Copilot messages also. Sorry, Rajat, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks for that detailed clarification. That's helpful. Just one thing. In the beginning, you mentioned that Times and Approval Agent is only available on the project operations app in Dataverse. On the licensing slide, you showed that it needs a Dynamics 365 SCM or finance license. Is that
I'll
correct?
share
Or
that slide again. It's an
yeah.
or, right? We need Power Apps Premium. It can come from any of these licenses, is what I was saying. So let me share that slide again. So we would need Power Apps Premium or Power Automate Premium or Finance or SCM. Any of these licenses will give you premium connectors access on the Power Automate side for Copilot Studio and Power Automate to consume.
Right. Cool. Awesome. That clarifies. I missed the or. No, thanks for that. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks. And one more question. It can read the policy document, right? The one you are uploading. And I think you mentioned that you can also have the holidays calendar there, right?
Yeah. But holiday, you can say, okay, don't approve an entry if it's a holiday or a non-working day.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
non-working day should be stamped on your work calendar to be considered. How else the agent knows whether it's a working day or non-working day?
Yeah.
So imagine we have people from Middle East joining the session. For them, week starts from Sunday to Thursday. Friday and Saturday is off, right?
It's a change, I heard.
Yeah.
I heard it a change now.
My memory of it was a dozen years old, so I believe it was Friday and Saturday off, at least in Qatar.
Okay.
So
No,
if it's changed, great. But we may have a different work calendar. And again, within an organization, even if I speak about Microsoft, right? We have CSS organization that runs 24/7. So obviously their calendars would be different, all right? So the calendar should be marked. The individual's calendar should be marked with saying, hey, this day is off, this day is not working, this day is leave or so. Otherwise, agent will not have any way to figure that out.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Bahrain is Sunday to Thursday. I just got confirmation on chat.
Yeah.
So does it also consider the location of the employee? So if an employee is traveling to a different country for project related work, and let's say employee is based out of let's say UK, and the employee is traveling to Dubai for a project, and then the policy might differ.
that you would have to set the agent preferences. So
Okay.
on a timesheet, you have agent preferences. You can always change that.
Right.
So
That's
it
cool.
would consider that to at least identify the time zone of the employee.
That's cool. And is this GA yet, or is this in preview?
This is production ready preview, like expense agent. We already have 1 or 2 customers who are using the approvals agent in production, but we haven't yet announced a GA for this. We will announce once we have more and more customers who are signing up in the production ready preview stage itself. But we don't have any fixed date. Mohit, if you can help me with any further information, that's what I know.
Yeah, no, we're not GAing anytime this year. That's for sure. There may be some changes to the back end like architecture of these agents, which is why we're also waiting for that to be done before GAing. But yeah, as of now, production ready preview for all practical purposes is a feature you can use on production. It has gone through the same level of checks as a GA feature would have, which would roll out on production. And you also get control to disable it whenever you don't want to continue using it. For time agent, end users can disable it anytime if they don't want to use the agent. So there's a lot of flexibility in that way.
What is the disclaimer from Microsoft on this production ready preview? Is it the same disclaimer? What is on that?
We love you to start using it. Like first, test it thoroughly and start using it. That's the disclaimer.
Yeah, they attested on definitely attested on Sandbox first. Have enough like the repetitions of like weekly time entries and approval records before you feel confident of rolling it out to production. Plus, there is no downside of rolling this out to production because any records, in the case of time entry, the records being created are only draft records, which users will have to review before they submit. And in the case of approval, it is just like adding or assisting the approver by doing one additional review of those records. It's not doing any auto approval, on behalf of these users.
Right now, we do have that option as well, auto approve, but you can just say only validate. The other one is validate and approve, right? So let me quickly share my screen on that. We could do both. So if I go to project parameters, settings, project parameters, time and expense agent here, I'm just saying classify. And then there is an option to say classify and auto approve. So you could just say classify, meaning agent will only augment to your decision process, saying, hey, help you in your decision process. Please review this more focusedly. Please, you can, from my perspective, this is good also, right? So once you gain confidence in terms of the agent's decision or agent's decision matrix over the rules, you could then change this parameter to classify and auto approve. So it's more controlled.
Yep. Does it also say on every timesheet is an AI generated timesheet? Use your discretion before you trust this. Something of that sort. Like
Yes,
this?
so we have that in the Teams experience. So whenever you get an alert from the agent, you'll see that it says AI generated content may be inaccurate, and you also have a way to share feedback as well, thumbs up, thumbs down, depending on how the experience is. We also have feedback collection on the time entry grid itself. Yeah, there you have the disclaimer on Teams.
It helps it to learn further, right? Improve how it works when you say thumbs down.
And like gives us more input on like which parts of the experience are problematic or which seem to be working well. So
Is this an adaptive card experience?
Yeah, it is.
The UI?
It's an adaptive card. So you could actually click on this. It will send you another card to update that entry, and you could save it. So you could do it over here itself directly. While it may be like multiple steps, wait to actually get to it. You could do those operations directly using OpenNweb here directly itself. That whichever is faster, whichever is more convenient.
Umesh.
Yeah, I have one question, to Venkatesh. So generally, what validations we normally have is of 8 to 9 hours in the system, that your total accumulated hour per day should be 8 to 9 hours, whatever has been said by the management. So the question over here is that will that also do it? Because we know we submitted
Approval-
6 hours and it got submitted.
Approval agent should flag if you have gone beyond the capacity for a day.
Okay.
Right. So it should flag it. I think if I set something to 9 hours or so, Mohit, it does the validation in terms of capacity, right? I can only book 8 hours of capacity based on my work calendar. It flags saying, hey, you have exceeded your capacity for time entry for this.
But the capacity has to be pre-allocated as well, right?
Yeah, it should be on the worker calendar again. Right? That's how it is.
Yeah.
I've even seen some companies.
People work overtime, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people work overtime. That's where you have the capacity to override what agents is, not just blindly follow that. So you could go ahead and approve it manually. But possibly if you're logging that entry like 9 hours directly against a task and 1 hour is overtime, you want to charge overtime with a different rate. So you may want to tag it to a different task, which is coming with a different rate also, right? They are tagged to also the pricing dimension. So you would need to consider that in the context. So you may want to reject it, send it back saying, okay, put 2 entries, 8 hours for normal time, 1 hour for extra time. Extra time is $120. Normal one is $100 or so. That is possible.
Correct.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you. We have some questions in the chat window. Satya, you want to take that?
I was also about to ask this question. Can it work with PMA module of D365 like FinOps? I know the answer is no, you said in the beginning.
No.
But is there any plan to make it work for FinOps?
So on the long run, we intend to remove the time entry experience in FinOps itself.
Okay.
Once we have parity with respect to FinOps and integrated projects, we will remove project execution related capabilities from FinOps and move it to integrated projects. So we want to work on a single UI, single code base for each of the features, right? We don't want to duplicate every place. So we are not looking for that.
And
Mohit, if you want to chime in a bit on this.
I'm hearing the rumors that everything is going to Dataverse slowly, right?
Not necessarily.
I'm just joking.
At least
everything can't go, but
Dataverse can't handle all the complexities of FO.
If this can be used on the PMA module as well, that is the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, I mean, no, like right now this only works with on the Dataverse side. So the two types, which is a light, which we're calling ProJobs Core, and the second one is ProJobs integrated with ERP. Those are the only two deployment modes.
Sure. No, thanks, Mohit.
Yeah.
Next question, if you can take, I think 2 more. How many messages are consuming for time and approval agent? So, okay. In short, how much money is spent for every
77 messages
approval
per a weekly time entry. That's an average that we can talk about. And 12 messages per approval record. That
in dollar value, how much is this?
So each message is $0.1 or something, 1 cent or so, right? On pay as you go. But if you buy message packs, you may get better capacity as a deal or something.
Less than the PM salary, right? Overall.
And that's a good question. I don't know. It depends on
It's
the number of
debatable.
resources the PM is managing.
Depends who the PM is.
It depends on the number of resources, right? Rolling up to him. If you have 1,000 resources rolling up to you as a PM, one project has 1,000 resources. Ideally,
Sure.
you should be paid more, but that's a different story. But it could be in scenarios where it has generated so many entries, the messages are high. So
Yeah.
in such cases,
It's a
possibly,
volume game, yeah.
yeah.
Sure. Last question. Hopefully, this is from Vikas. Can we do customization on top of this? Again, a very standard, like everybody asks this
So
question. Can we
as of
customize the agents?
as of today, I think I would defer that question to Mohit, but from what I know, we can't really immediately customize, but we are planning to enable this for extensions
Extension,
for you
yeah.
to add your own meaning, because there will be at
Yeah.
least n number of circumstances where you will introduce new masters that needs to be added to a time entry as a dimension, or even the price as a dimension. So we are looking at those options, but
Yeah.
for now, it's not yet extensible.
Yeah.
Mohit, you have
That's right. Yeah, actually, for now, at least the approvals agent, it's limited to how much to data that you can see in certain tables. And so that doesn't include your custom tables, which means your policies are not going to be based on any custom fields. That's for approvals agent. But we are looking at ways where you can extend the agent through what Copilot Studio provides, which is knowledge documents, adding your own Power Automate flows or actions, so that it can work along with the actions which the agent is aware of. But it's not a very well like baked solution at this point. At this point, I think for all practical purposes, you can say it's not extendable, because if you do try to make a modification to a flow, the next time we release an update, all those changes are going to break, just and you'll have to like go back to making those changes every release.
we have documented what are all the fields agent has access to and can contribute to using the natural language itself. That's for time entry data. These are all the fields that it can access, or different attributes it can access. And similarly for expense entry data and material data, what it can.
Sure. No,
Right.
thanks, Venkatesh. Yep, and thank you, Mohit, as well. I know you will leave now.
Thank you,
If
Mohit.
there are no more questions, maybe we can close the session. And anybody wants to say anything before we close the session?
Yeah, I
I
think
would just
the session was knowledgeable, very good.
Yeah.
Outcome.
like to say thanks to the whole crew from Microsoft, Venkatesh, Priyanka, everyone joining and giving us the session and sharing the knowledge and bringing other PMs from the team. So really appreciative. Ankur as well, like giving session on the supply communication agent. So yeah, it has been quite a great experience last few weeks hosting you all. So thank you for that, and we are looking forward for more sessions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we are in for more sessions. Anything we could present, we are more than happy to jump in, and love the collaboration and love the effort on the community. And thank you for keeping up this great work. Yeah.
Sure. No, thanks to you, Venkatesh. And I'm confident it won't be the last session. We'll invite you again for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
And see you next time.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.